Welcome to NARmovies. We are Nathan and Rose.
And the movie is Camp Takota. So, we just watched Camp Takota, movie put out by Mamrie Hart, Grace Helbig, and Hannah Hart, some really prominent figures on YouTube. Hilarious.
That's why we wanted to pick that movie as our first ever NARmovies movie. Just the YouTube connection. We've been wanting to watch it ever since it came out. And now we got to. First impressions, what did you think?
I thought it was really funny. It's definitely your like feel-good summertime camp movie, you know, it doesn't go too serious or anything. But one thing I really loved about it was like literally every scene, every conflict, everything resolved in a pun. Like, and that is so about like Hannah, Grace, and Mamrie. Like their thing is puns, and so I love that like just conflicts were resolved or scenes transitioned just with a pun. I thought it was very like it was a good little flavor of themselves.
Yeah, it was written very well to incorporate the three of them in.
Definitely.
And just like if you know them as
their
friends,
chemistry together. Yeah,
exactly. There's so many parts where it was like, there were definitely parts where it was like, oh, they're getting through scripted lines, and then sometimes it was like, that's just Mamrie like dogging on Hannah right now.
Yeah, definitely. You could tell there was some improv to the movie, which is it's always good. Not necessarily that it was like apparent that it was improvised, but that you can tell that the actors are interacting well together and that they're really like feeling their characters and can still make it work.
They're all like best friends.
Yeah.
There's the point at the end that we were noticing this like super meta. It's when Mamrie is thanking the two of them for being, you know,
helping out with the camp and everything.
Yeah, and she says something like, thanks for being, or I'm so lucky to have my two best friends help me out on my crazy ideas. And it was like this meta step back where she's,
because
you know, she's
Mamrie's
talking
the
about
one who wrote the movie and had Hannah and Grace work on it with her. Yeah.
So I definitely like that super meta, like deeper level of her being like, thanks for helping me with this project, but also this project we're like, in right now.
And I mean, it was a monumental step for a lot of people on YouTube, is just making like an actual movie just from, you know, being YouTube talent.
Well, that's one of the things I loved, like in the movie, Hannah Hart is an aspiring chef, and in real life she does My Drunk Kitchen.
Aspiring lesbian chef.
Oh yeah, so like her like real life persona comes through. And then Grace ends up being like a successful writer, which is funny because since this movie's come out, her book has come out, and she's been kind of attributing that to
well, and she's even going to be on TV too, which is, I'm sure she'll be doing a lot of writing there.
Yeah, so I really liked like being familiar with the three of them and what they do. It was really cool to have all those connections and ties. Like the movie is definitely made to like it's beneficial to be a fan of theirs already to see the movie, but the movie's I mean, obviously it stands alone. It's a, like you said, a good movie.
Yeah, I think they all like got into their characters well, and it was easy to forget that even though I'm so familiar with Grace and Mamrie's like YouTube presence or Hannah's YouTube presence, I could also just kind of step away from that and see them in a different role, like something different than they normally do. They're not normally acting so much.
It's true. It was, I will say, it was definitely weird. At first I felt like, because you see them being themselves on YouTube, and then seeing them playing roles almost makes it be like, I don't know if I like this.
Right.
And at first Grace's character seemed like she just like kind of scripted, and it was just like weird.
Almost like a try hard, but like...
It's true, but then once you get to know her character and like what it is she's doing, I think she did a great job.
Yeah.
Mamrie killed it. Killed it. Granted, her character is, I think, just her.
Kind of. I can kind of see,
a little more.
If her life had gone a little differently, I could totally see Mamrie just being a camp counselor in the middle of Michigan.
I'll be honest, I wanted a little bit more from Hannah. I think just because
I think her role
in real
was
life she's so kind of like big and, you know, just like fills up a room with her personality, but it seemed like her, but you're right, I think her character was
there was not much developing. There wasn't. She didn't have like really a love story or anything.
It's true.
Like that.
I think it, like by the end they all obviously kind of really built, and but yeah, I really liked it. It was funny to see Chester C being such a douche because in real life he's like the sweetest guy.
I know.
And he was just like
come back to me. Great, not Grace. What is his name? Elise.
Elise. I'd like to see the behind the scenes of that, because you know there's some takes where Chester C's like being a dick and then like feeling bad about it or something.
I bet. Yeah, no, I like that you brought it up, because I loved the little YouTuber cameos of Chester C and also Sawyer Hartman.
Sawyer Hartman playing the like heartthrob.
Yeah, heartthrob, like young adult fiction or fantasy writer.
Writer of what was Moonlight something, and just Twilight basically.
So,
Twilight
basically. It's
is
good.
what I got.
Yeah.
Funny. Rose and I met Sawyer Hartman last summer twice while we were in LA, and so we're just watching this movie, and he just like walks onto the set,
and we're like,
oh,
there he is.
We met him, so that's kind of funny.
Yeah, but it's cool. It's cool to see even that they were able to get like other people from YouTube. It's just kind of like, you know, they're really, even though they're trying to branch out into different media besides just YouTube, I feel like those girls especially are kind of like loyal to their YouTube people.
Well, that's the other cool thing too, like the Rydell brothers, the guys who, you know,
directed
and produced, you know, did a lot of the work for the movie. They're kind of like building up their career and what they're doing right now. They're by no means like, you know, super big blockbuster Hollywood. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked into a lot of their background. I don't know their history that much.
Okay, but they're just kind of like indie filmmakers and stuff. Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean, yeah.
But, I mean, they did a great job. One of the things I loved about this movie that I noticed right off the bat is just the little B-roll footage and like the transitions where there's just like beautiful, and granted like it's set at the camp, so you have all these like beautiful camp settings, but there would just be like, just to like set the setting in like a room, they would have like this beautiful shot where like lights filtering through and it's like, you know, dusty kind of campy, and it's just like, wow, that's...
Or contrasted with the very like, your very typical almost 90s, I think you pointed out, like cityscape shots for B-rolls. It was like when they were in Chicago, it was just like buildings, subway going by, like that kind of stuff. It was a good contrast. There were some other edits I really liked in the movie. Some of the really quick cut ones that kind of chop off the beginning and the end of each movement.
That's one of the things I really like is that not only did they do the artsy stuff really well, but you know there's some level of like improv to the like delivery of especially the three girls whenever they're in a scene together. And I think they did a really good job of like editing to incorporate that feel of just like
definitely.
Them kind of goofing quick on each other and
jump cuts and yeah, there was a lot of different film tactics that I could tell were used in this movie that worked out well creatively.
Yeah, and like I said, Mamrie killed it. It's just an awesome, you know, it's on its surface level seems kind of simple, just like a camp story, and a lot of the conflicts are kind of, you know, like, oh, I get fired from a job, and like kind of like typical, but the way it's all put together.
Do I have to be such a try-hard about camp?
The way it's all put together ends up being fairly unique, which, I mean, I enjoyed it. Never while I was watching it was like, oh, so cliche, like we have to save camp from getting taken over by... Yeah, and just all the little jokes, and going back to what you were saying about the puns, it's
the puns
funny
are
how
great.
like
they're
just
so great,
written into the movie. So funny. There's even some I think that I realized why it was a joke like a minute or two, like a scene later.
Oh, really?
So I bet there's a bunch of stuff that I didn't even catch the first time.
Now we'll have to go back and watch it again.
I did just want to say, since we were watching a camp movie, while we watched it and post now, we were drinking cans of PBR.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. But hey, PBR, if you're interested, I wouldn't mind. Send me cases of PBR. Anyway, it seemed like a campy kind of beer.
Yeah, definitely.
A campy drink. So, hey, we're at camp. On that note, I would like, what was it, closing campfire.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on our first ever NARmovies shoot. This is really exciting.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this. I'm so glad you guys tuned in. And if you would like to, you can click the like button and subscribe for more reviews of movies in the future.
Thanks for joining us. See you later.